Well, what's up, everybody? This is Joseph R. Wheeler III, the artist, the founder, and the president of the ONYXCON Foundation. Welcoming y'all to a ride along, think along, and as I talk along about my recent journey to República Dominicana, aka Dominican Republic. For all you Americans, and I'm American too, but I'm just saying that's the way they actually say it. They say República Dominicana. You can see it on the flag. It's official. It's official. You gotta get your Spanish up when you go down there. You gotta get your Spanish. And amongst that, there's many other things to collect on a trip when you travel, and you can really give an honest opinion after you've had some days to settle in. I'll start with the fishing, because that was one of our last videos. If you haven't seen my fishing journey while I was in Dominican Republic, check it out. It was amazing. I got to witness hand-lining, hand-catching of a giant. When I say giant, it had to be a 45-pound yellowtail tuna. I swear that fish was at least 45 pounds. Huge fish, you feel me? Maybe even 50. I'm not even exaggerating, y'all. Look at the video, you'll understand. But shout out to Guillermo, the captain that took me out. Good time with them brothers. And the captain, or the company owner who sends out these different captains, Eugenio, shout out to him. Met him on fishbooker.com. I usually go through Fishbooker. And I will say, you know, as an angler, as a serious angler, my one gripe with Fishbooker over the years, because I've now fished in Malaysia with them through a captain. Fished, of course, like I say, Dominican Republic and Mexico. What all three had in common is you get the benefit of local captains. I like the local cultural element. The only issue with local people trying to make a living off of this is it's a meager living. So a lot of times these captains don't have the best equipment. And of all three places, I would have to say, I would kind of say Mexico and DR were neck and neck on equipment. My Malaysian captain, nice as they were, like, look, everybody great personality. Like, I shouldn't have to pay for that. That just comes with the territory. I mean, why would I trust my life on the water with an asshole? No one wants to go out with somebody who they're scared to go out with. They think they're a threat or they're an asshole. They don't know how to treat people. So that should be a given. I don't think we should be paying for good attitude and good energy with anything when it comes to service. That's part of the job, damn it. Like, yo, you say you're selling something to the public, you're giving people an experience, you should have a good attitude. People are working extremely hard. No matter what you may perceive being in another country of Americans thinking we're all rich and all that, we're not. You know what I mean? A lot of us are risking tooth and limb, credit card debt and everything else to make these trips possible, right? And then I'm a nonprofit, so I use my own personal credit, put it on the line, plus the little bit of donations we get to make these trips happen. So when I tell you I expect the best in everything, from my hotel to my fishing experience to anything I'm after, I really want it to be the best, because I don't work way too hard. I'm still working. I'm always working. Like anybody's working, but it's just, you know, we all should be respecting each other's effort if we want that money. Like, yo, it's as simple as that. Like, I know your country got it hard. I know these are different situations. I don't like to use the word third world country. I don't like that phrase. But I'm saying I know these are developing countries. And so I'm just saying it's a little different. But with all due respect, Dominican Republic is the #1 most visited Caribbean nation. It's all over the world. I plan to continue to. I do a YouTube. I share my videos. He saw that. He saw where I'm at. He saw what I'm doing. He must have thought, okay, this guy wouldn't mind going out if they going on a real comida run, like looking for food. Comida is food. They going out not just for fun. They going to get something to feed the whole village, feed the families in the operation. So I was like, I'm with that. Matter of fact, I fish for the thrill, I fish for the meal. That's what we say for the ONYXCON fishing tournament. But I think he realized, he's like, yeah, Joseph won't mind catching whatever they catch, and he'll get this experience of seeing this really cool thing, which ironically, it was worth seeing this hand lining technique. I'd never seen it on that level, deep sea. So yeah, it was worth getting that experience. Hopefully that's gonna get me a lot of great views in the future. So I appreciate that. It's gonna be I think a 3 hour, no, 4 hour, was it 3 hour or 4 hour? I think it was a 3 hour trip for like $300. That turned into a 5 hour trip for technically $350. Okay, like I had to put a down payment like you always do on Fishbooker, and then at the end of the trip I owed 270 USD. Okay, whatever that is in pesos. And he wanted me to pay my captain in pesos. I tried to, but Guillermo didn't seem to know anything about that arrangement, and he didn't care. He was just like, I told him, I said, I didn't have time to go to an ATM, and every ATM was limited on me pulling out, but so many pesos, so I couldn't get it's something like 16,000 pesos. I couldn't get that from an ATM. Most of them limit you to like 1,500 per transaction, and you get transaction fees every time. I wasn't about to pull out that much over and over and over and get them $5. End up with a $25, $50 bill for pulling out that much. Man, that's crazy. Hell no, right? So I told him, I said, let me transfer it to you, which Fishbooker gives you the option of doing. Instead of it being a simple thing like that. And mind you, before I say this, I want to make it very clear. I ain't got no beef with nobody. It's all good. I got the man, his money. It's done deal. But I was cool. Me and Guillermo, we left. When I left the boat, it was my fish to cook for the night and a smile on my face. Had a hell of an experience. We brothers for life. Same with the other brother who I went out with. I never met the other guy who runs the operation, right? But we talked on WhatsApp a few times, like, sending messages. That's it. I'm trying to use the convenience of what the app told me I always have the right to do. It says clearly, you can pay the captain in cash or through a transaction, safe transaction digitally. It's up to you as the customer. You're trying to tell me you prefer, okay, I get you prefer, but I'm telling you, I would have loved to do that. I had a hassle for that. Can you work with me? And it was kind of like a shaky attitude, like, oh, yeah, okay, but I don't like this app and that app. When I was sending him apps as options of stuff to use, and because it was American stuff, he's like, I'm not familiar. Okay, I get you not familiar. What are you familiar with? He finally said PayPal. We came to an agreement. I had to transfer the money. I sent him screenshots like, yo, it's going to take this many days after today to get the money in my account, which was like 3 days or something. Third day came, it didn't post. He's in my WhatsApp. Hey, I don't see it. I say, I'm sorry, I don't see it either. It ain't me. I promise you, I'm as annoyed as you are. Where is my money, right? By the time I woke up the next morning, it was in there. I paid the man first thing that morning. Done. We good. But it left a bad taste in my mouth. And here's the thing about it, right? I'm tired of operations that have equipment that's old, rusty, crusty. And I want to make it clear, I'm talking about equipment, not human beings. The people I went out with were great people, very nice. All the customer service I would expect. They cared about my safety. They made sure I was happy. They put me on fish, and they can't make the fish bite, but I did catch something on every one of these trips. Malaysia, not exactly what I wanted. I'll start there with what I'm criticizing. I didn't like the fact in Malaysia, yeah, I can't force big ones to bite, but all I caught was some babies, right? And the rod and reel we were working with, because I was out with a friend that I was there to see also, what she had and what I had were both made, they were fine for catching some light peacock bass, which they had in that Puchong lake that we were fishing in. But they also have, or supposed to have, damn tomon, which is the biggest snakehead. I caught a baby tomon. I can't say I've caught one. So I'm proud of that. But yo, nothing's more frustrating than coming 10,000 miles and still paying hundreds of US dollars to go out on basically what was a very small John boat that was not made for tall people. Every time I stood up, I felt like I was gonna tip the boat over. Where you at, charge where you at. Don't be trying to charge, luxury prices and you around here in a John boat, homie. It was like, and you didn't have the right equipment. Because I told him before I got there, I said, bruh, my dream is to catch a tomon. Oh, yeah, we have them. Not as many as we used to in that lake. Okay, that was red flag 1. But we have them.
Red flag.
You know what I'm saying? I read articles about it and I found out that that particular lake had been overfished. I said, okay, I can relate to that in America, how that goes when it gets overfished for certain species. It's not that they ain't there no more. They're harder and harder to find. Like I tell you, I caught a baby. So they're not having a chance to grow up. And it's a big, catch and eat culture. I get it. That's the original purpose for fishing, for human intervention and using any type of method to fish. You're trying to catch a meal. But there's got to be regulations to maintain the population. those kind of countries, when there's issues of regulations and there's no real strict order to that, people do what they want. And anything to get caught going more than likely end up over a bed of rice later. It is what it is. There was more to the trip than just the fishing, but fishing means a lot to me. And when I go places, I want to catch something memorable.
Say it with your chest!
It was memorable to catch them babies, but I wanted to be extra memorable. You feel? So, the only thing that annoyed me there was I didn't have a fighting chance if I had caught one, and he knew it. He wasn't trying to give me the bait or the situation to end up hitting one of those, because if there was one, it would have broke the rods we were using. He didn't have. He said, and I remember saying to him when I was there, I said, could this catch, you know what I'm talking about? I'm just messing with him. I knew it couldn't. He's like, oh, no, if you want to do that, you should come back, my friend. We go again to another place I know, but we would have to go way up into the country, in the jungle and all that. And I'm like, looking at him like, dude, this is that bull. Like, I just heard him out. I didn't get mad or nothing in the moment, but I'm in my head thinking, oh gosh, here's that, you're rich, you're American, it ain't nothing for you to get on the, man, dude, I'm American, but I'm not rich, all right? It took a hell of a lot to get over here.
Say it with your chest!
But if I were gonna plan to come back to see you, you should have had, you talking about I got another rod, I always keep it in my car, I don't have it out here today. I was like, why? Then my lady friend I was with, her rod, her reel was kind of broken. He was like, oh, you always had to do this. He was showing her how to finagle it and still cast it because it was kind of broke. I was like, I'm paying for this? That's not cool, man. That is not cool.
Say it with your chest!
When when the word 100 is spoken from one forward, 100, 200, 300, and it's usually 300 and some change on damn near every trip. This is what I find to be the standard price. It gets no lower in any country than about $300 to go fishing, whether it's freshwater or salt. Something wrong with that. First of all, saltwater equipment tends to cost more, and it requires more maintenance to keep the salt from breaking up the rod and reel over time, eating up the components. So that alone, freshwater should always cost less, should never be comparable in price. Now, if there's more danger, same size fish, because you're dealing with some monsters, equal to like some river monsters, some giant alligator gar, something like that. Okay, I hear you a little bit, but still, if I can get blood all over me pulling up a tuna in the ocean, what's the difference in that being gritty on the back of a yacht with a fighting chair and a damn giant John boat basically for a river that's filled with mud and all kind of other BS all over the deck, and I can't even sit down. And I haven't even taken that kind of trip, but I've watched a ton of content on YouTube, and all of the charters I see for alligator gar in the US and Texas, and Mississippi, Louisiana, all them kind of places, man, most of their boats, look, they be rough. They like giant monster trucks. They always muddy. They always got mud. I get it. It's a muddy environment. I've river fished. I've been in the mud. I done had mud up to my ankles and knees. I know. But if I'm paying hundreds of dollars, guess what? You better, the day up, before we hit the water, that boat better be clean. If I bring a lady friend with me, see, there's all this assumption, oh, only guys do this anyway, only a real man gonna be out there and a real man don't marry. You don't care about getting muddy or whatever. Guess what, asshole? I'm a real man all day, but I don't want to be muddy until I'm muddy. You understand what I'm saying? We're gonna get muddy. When I get there, I wasn't muddy. When I leave, I can be muddy. We ain't gonna start muddy. You can't charge me $300 and something plus and we starting muddy. That ain't cool. That ain't cool. He tried everything. He trolled behind the boat, bait, lures, you name it, trying to get me a mahi-mahi. It didn't happen. So I don't put it on him like he didn't do all he was supposed to do to try and get me fish. While doing so, every time we would stop after trolling, they gave me the light rig, had me casting down just a little bit to catch basically the bait, and a couple of sizable ones that can be eaten, or what they call mackerel, but they're technically were not mackerel. I don't know what they are to this day. I'm still trying to find that fish and ID it, but very beautiful little skinny things that the bigger they get, they got a little meat on them. And then I was catching a little small bonito and something else that I forget the name of. But those, he was cut baiting them for the tuna, and they were running those styrofoam spools with the heavy line on them for hand lining a tuna. So every time one of those would go off, we'd rush over there to that, pull it up. He had one on one time and lost it, snapped the line. That's not even in the video. Same amount, it was like 45 minutes to an hour every time he got one on, of how long it take to get them up, because they down deep. Okay? And, but it snapped the line. And they reeled it back up, threw it out again, got that other one on, and we caught that one. I say we because I was there for it, that's all I'm saying, but he did it. Him and his assistant. So, yo, amazing. Glad I got it on tape. Oh, that's beautiful. The bottom line is I paid to fish and for me to be the king for the day. I paid $300 something for me to be the focus. Now, I don't mind. I do a channel, so I don't regret that experience. I was in the moment. I took it for what it was. I didn't get the biggest fish on the boat, but I got to make some dope content because of it, so it still worked out. But when I'm paying that kind of money, in retrospect, talk about value again. Hey, if you're gonna let me go out, I might catch something big, I might not. But we're gonna let you basically create an advertisement for how cool is it to see hand lining. Okay, instead of $350, how about $150? Look, put it like this, as much as I admire his talent, if Guillermo had gotten, he was my captain, and the other guys had to help reel in the line as he was pulling in that tuna. And I thought about it in the moment. I said, man, what if I mess around and get a tuna on this little pole I got, and it's gonna be a hell of a fight? Because what I was casting was only made for like 12-pound fish, 20 at the max, right? What if I mess around and get something on here 50 pounds? Hey, it's possible. It's just gonna take forever for me to get it up, and I'm gonna have to play it for the long time. I'm gonna need somebody to go get, they had a fighting belt. I need somebody to go get the fighting belt, strap me up while I'm reeling. I ain't about to put that on while I'm reeling. I shouldn't have to. I'm the customer, remember? Now, this didn't happen, but it could have, because the bait I was using was the exact same kind of cut bait, the same type of little fish that caught the damn tuna. He just threw a whole one out there for the tuna versus I had a piece of one. Okay? The same thing could have got bit. You know what I mean? Or anything could have bit it. Anything going through the water, in that kind of water. A shark, a small shark with a hell of a lot of power. A 4-foot shark, a hammerhead. Man, that would have gave me the fight of my life, and I would have loved it, and I wanted that to happen so bad, but it didn't happen. But I thought to myself, whoa, if it had, who gonna help me out? Nobody. They're gonna be like, keep going, Jose, pull it, Jose. Oh, snap, oh, this tuna, they would have still been fighting that tuna. And I ain't mad at them, but I would be mad at paying what I paid for that kind of service. You get what I'm saying? So I was real skeptic about making this video because I wouldn't want Guillermo or anybody, he doesn't even speak enough English. The head of the company would have to explain to him, and hopefully he wouldn't make me sound bad if he did watch this and report it back to Guillermo. Me and Guillermo, let me tell you something. If I was rich, Guillermo would be on another contract with me. I'd work it out where he'd be my captain also. He can still work with other dudes if he want to, but I'd pay him what he deserves. I'd give him a boat. I'm talking about if I was rich. I'm talking about if I was balling, all right? This is my dream for what I want to do with ONYXCON in the future and the effect that we could have with cultures and people who deserve it. You know what I mean? Like, yo, nah, bro, we're going to get you better equipment. I'm going to get sponsored, so you ain't got to worry about the better equipment. You're going to always have the best rods, the best reels, the best everything. These people deserve that, you know? And they need to know that there's an etiquette about it too. They gotta, you gotta work on your English a little bit there. You ain't gotta ever be fluent, but you need to know way more than you do know, so that when we start bringing in these international customers, you give them what they paying for. It's just basic. They ought to be able to say basic stuff to you that you always understand. Which he wasn't bad. I'm not saying he was. He did get some of my jokes and some little words I would say. He's a very personable guy. So it's none of this is a diss. I'm just saying when money's involved, money equals time, resources, and work that I did to get there that ain't never gonna get paid back from just smiles and good times when I'm not the focus, and I paid to be the focus. I paid to be the man for the day. I technically rented an experience on a boat, and I got half of what I rented, what I paid for, in my opinion. That's just the honest truth of it. And I think that more people who are doing that on FishBooker and stuff, need to be conscious of how this comes off in the long run, because it's all fun when you first start. Like, these are my first charters in life, but now I've done enough of them. I use FishBooker mostly because they're the only company that big that's doing it. They kind of got a monopoly on it. But if I had boots on the ground, somebody to point out, oh man, you don't have to go through him. You can deal with so-and-so. He's reputable. He'll take you out. You know, he has insurance. He has this. He has that. She has this. She has that. You know what I'm saying? I haven't met a female captain yet, but I know they out there. Let's do it. Let's go out. Let's have a good time. But look, don't cheat me what it's really worth in pesos. What it's really worth in whatever money. You know what I'm saying? Ringgit when I was in Malaysia. Don't do that. Like, I bought a freaking rod, reel, I can't even remember how many lures, a whole spool of line to go on the reel, braided line, okay, on what would be the equivalent of an affordable but still high quality ugly stick. And if you know fishing, you know what I'm saying. You know how good that is, right? When I was in Malaysia, all of that came in US dollars to less than, I think, 40-something bucks. In their money, it was like 100 and something, because it's 4 times the American dollar. You feel what I'm saying, y'all? So I remember it coming up to like 100 and something, whatever it was, and I was like, oh my gosh. When I did that in my head, I said, wow. Now you know, in America, man, please, the rod and the reel alone would have been $200. Easy, on the low end, for the quality of what it was. That's what I'm saying. How can that be that? And then I go on a trip on a John boat, don't catch nothing but babies, ain't got the right equipment if I wanted to catch a big one, because he didn't bring it and he didn't want to have to take it that serious. He didn't even have a lot of live bait. I'm talking about Malaysia again. I mean, he had these little tiny fish that the peacocks will hit. And I thought as soon as I saw them, I was like, okay, I know why we're getting these little baby-sized peacocks too, because a little bit of a fight, 12-pound fish. Dude, I can catch a 12-pound bass in Atlanta. I've caught an 8-pound or 9, whatever it was, the biggest bass in my life. I didn't have a scale back then. But I got pictures, I got proof. It's real. You know, and the biggest fish I ever caught in my life in the Chattahoochee River was 24 pounds, 7 ounces. I ain't come 10,000 miles to catch 10-pound, not even 20-pound. I mean, 20 will do. 20 will make it, hey, I'll go home smiling for 20. But I want to beat my record. I want to beat my own personal best of fish of all time. I want to catch 50, I want to catch 100-pound fish. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, I want that when I pay that kind of money. That ain't cool. That is not cool. So that's my gripe. Let me know what y'all think in the comments if you've had a similar experience when you fished anywhere in the world. And yeah, let's talk about it, angler to angler. Hope y'all got something from this. Peace, y'all.